In a quaint little village nestled between rolling hills and a sparkling river lay a cobblestone path. It was here that Whisker, a ginger cat with a heart as big as his appetite, embarked on his extraordinary adventure to the Windy City. But Whisker was no ordinary cat, with his plump, fluffy body covered in the most magnificent swirls of amber and cream fur, and eyes that sparkled like emeralds in sunlight. He had always dreamed of adventure beyond his quiet village path. His whiskers twitched with excitement as he gazed at the train ticket clutched in his tiny paw's destination. The morning sun cast a golden glow on his detailed fur as he sat one last time on his familiar cobblestone path, his expressive face a mixture of nervousness and anticipation. Village mice peeked out from their holes to wave goodbye to their beloved, if sometimes troublesome, neighbor.
5 days in the Windy City, Whisker purred to himself, his fluffy tail swishing with determination.
What could possibly go wrong? His first full day in Chicago began with wonder. The towering skyscrapers made him feel smaller than ever, but his adventurous spirit soared as high as the Willis Tower. He had somehow managed to book a tiny room at a pet-friendly hotel. Don't ask how a cat got a credit card and set out to explore the famous Magnificent Mile. His chubby form waddled down Michigan Avenue,
Drawing delighted squeals from tourists who couldn't resist photographing the most photogenic cat they'd ever seen.
His orange fur seemed to glow in the urban sunlight, and his playful nature emerged as he pounced at fallen autumn leaves swirling in the Chicago wind. But disaster struck at Water Tower Place. Whisker, distracted by a particularly enticing hot dog cart, accidentally wandered into the wrong elevator. When the doors opened, he found himself face to face with a rather stern-looking security guard. "How did a cat get up to the 40th floor?" the guard muttered, but Whisker's expressive eyes worked their magic. Within minutes, the guard was scratching behind his ears and sharing stories about his own pet cats. Emboldened by his previous day's success in charming humans, Whisker set his sights on Navy Pier. His fluffy orange coat caught the lake breeze as he strolled along the waterfront, his detailed fur patterns shifting beautifully in the changing light. At the pier, he discovered something magical. A family of stray cats living near the docks. Led by a wise old calico named Duchess, they welcomed the chubby visitor with curious sniffs and gentle head bonuses. "You're not from around here?" Duchess observed, her voice carrying the streetwise tone of a Chicago native. "That village softness is written all over your whiskers." Whisker spent the afternoon learning urban survival skills, how to navigate crowds without getting stepped on, where to find the best food scraps, and most importantly, how to ride the L train without a ticket. It involved looking irresistibly cute near the turnstiles. As evening fell, they watched the fireworks from Navy Pier's Ferris wheel area. Whisker's eyes reflected the colorful lights, his expressive face filled with pure joy. He had never felt more alive. No trip to Chicago would be complete without deep dish pizza, and Whisker was determined to try this legendary cuisine. His research, conducted by eavesdropping on tourists, led him to a famous pizzeria in the Loop. Using his newfound urban cat skills, he snuck into the restaurant and positioned himself near a table of kind-looking diners. His chubby, irresistible form and those expressive eyes worked their magic once again. Soon, he was being hand-fed pieces of cheese and crust by a family from Iowa who declared him the cutest thing they'd ever seen in the big city. But his pizza adventure took an unexpected turn when he encountered Rex, a large, territorial alley cat who ruled this particular block. Rex was not impressed by Whisker's village manners or tourist status. "This is my turf, Fluffball," Rex growled, his scarred ears flattening against his head. What followed was less of a fight and more of a comedy of errors. Whisker's round, well-fed form wasn't built for street brawling, but his playful nature and quick thinking saved the day. He managed to distract Rex with a perfectly timed pounce on a pizza box, sending cheese flying everywhere and creating enough chaos for a graceful, if somewhat ungainly, escape. On his final day, Whisker returned to Navy Pier to say goodbye to Duchess and her crew. The morning light caught his orange fur perfectly, creating an almost cinematic glow around his fluffy form. "You know, Duchess said thoughtfully. You may be a village cat, but you've got city heart. You're welcome back any time. Whisker spent his last hours at Millennium Park, sitting beneath Cloudgate, the famous bean, watching his reflection distorted in the polished surface. Tourists continued to photograph him, but now he posed with the confidence of a seasoned city cat. His expressive face reflected on the incredible journey the friends he'd made, the challenges he'd overcome, and the discovery that adventure could be found anywhere, even for a chubby cat from a small village. As the afternoon sun began to set, painting the Chicago skyline in shades of orange that matched his magnificent coat,
Whisker made his way back to Union Station.
his 5 days in Chicago had transformed him from a simple village cat into a worldly feline with stories to last a lifetime. The train pulled away from the station just as the city lights began to twinkle.
Whisker pressed his fluffy face against the window, his detailed fur slightly mussed from his adventures,
watching Chicago disappear into the distance. Back in his village, sitting once again on his familiar path, Whisker's expressive eyes held a new spark of confidence. He had conquered the Windy City, made lifelong friends, and proven that even the chubby's fluffiest cat could have the adventure of a lifetime. And sometimes, on quiet evenings, villagers could swear they heard him purring tailies of deep-dish pizza and towering skyscrapers, his voice carrying the unmistakable accent of a cat who had seen the world.